Ready to keep going? That's my uniform. All right, next, we'll go on the list here. We're gonna wait for some visitors to show up for Barb to.
No, I'm just saying, go ahead and start the meeting if we could just stop when they come, because I'm not sure specific. She's coming straight from work, and so I'm just not sure what time.
All right, so we're on number 5, appointments, which I have none, right? Tori, any visitor signing?
No.
Do we need to do roll call again since we've added people?
Would you like to do roll call again?
Again. Mayor
Now that we have
Bloom,
a quorum here.
Alderperson Boonstra,
Here.
Bergerath, King,
Here.
Mass,
Here.
Ratcliffe,
Here.
Sewell, Van Campen, here, Wilkins,
Here.
Thank you, Zach. I didn't mean to do that. It just wasn't in my notes.
Well, just that came down on record. On record, we only had 2-3 people here, and
I
wouldn't
mentioned
be able to have
earlier,
a
I just
vote.
forgot.
No, it's okay.
All right, next is the consent agenda. All items on the consent agenda will be enacted by a single motion and roll call vote. Any item may be removed upon request by the mayor or any alderman and considered individually after all other items of business on the consent agenda. We have approved the regular meeting minutes from October 27th and the bill list. Motion, please. So moved.
Second.
And discussion. Any questions? All right, if no one has any questions, roll call please, Tori.
Alderperson Boonstra,
Yes.
Bergerath, King, Mass,
Here. Yes.
Ratcliffe,
Yes.
Sewell, Van Campen,
Yes.
Wilkins.
Yes.
All right, next, Barb would like to give a presentation honoring our veterans.
Well, on this even Veterans Day, I had some experiences this past year that I thought merited sharing with all of you, just because of some of the coincidences. My family went to the Netherlands in July, which included my son and his wife and my daughter and her daughter. And we visited an American Netherlands cemetery. I've always wanted to go there, just never got in that part of the country, but we were going there this year, and so we were able to visit that cemetery. And I just wanted to share with you just a few things about it. Here's the layout. The cemetery has 8,301 American soldiers buried there. It covers 65 acres. There are 4 sets of brothers there and 1 set of twins who are buried in that cemetery. And the reason why I wanted to go is I'd always heard about the Dutch people adopting cemetery soldiers that are buried there. There are many other cemeteries that the United States takes care of throughout Europe. And I visited the one in Normandy, equally as impressive as this one. But this one is unique because the Dutch people have attached themselves to these different grave sites and got acquainted with the soldiers and have communicated with the family. So that made it unique, and they had a wonderful visitor center as well. And just before I went, I was in Dr. Harrison's office, and I told Carol I was going to Europe, and she said, I've been there. I have an uncle that's buried in Margraten Cemetery. So that made it really interesting for us. And then more I thought about it, until here we have an employee. We have a police officer here who has an uncle that is buried.
2.
And I just found that out. Dwayne came and told me that the person that is Paul Hamilton is buried there in that cemetery is his uncle too. So that was just another nice coincidence that we have 2 employees who had somebody buried there. And it certainly did make it more interesting for us to be able to walk out and visit that. But 65 acres, and Paul Hamilton, who was buried in Section D, and it may look like it's close to the visitor center, but it really is quite a long walk to get there. But we were glad, we wanted to go visit that site, and so we were glad that he was in Section D. So, Kelly, to move another one. So here is his stone, and they have a sod replacement that goes continually with 65 acres. It just so happened the day we were there, Paul Hamilton's sod was not there. But that listed him as Private First Class Paul Hamilton. He died April 6th. In 1945, and Carol had told me before I went that he died just a month before the war ended, and that's true.
A day. One day.
One day. Yeah, war ended technically, I guess, in May of 45, so just a month. He was 20 years old and died there. So, next one. So here's just some information, and I don't know if you have that, but I made copies of that for you. This information that I had that's located in the visitor center there. Just talks about where he was born here in Illinois, and gave his date and his rank, and that he was there. And I chatted with Carol just a little bit today, and she said, in fact, her family have always had that correspondence with the Dutch family, who has always looked after that. And that's now into the third generation that people in the Netherlands still go put flowers on the grave and keep in touch with it. And just a couple weeks ago, it was a coincidence because I'd just been there in July, there was an article in the Quad City Times. This was about a lady in Texas, and she still receives information about her brother. So she's still connected with the Dutch people who are still visiting that site and looking after those things. So I have another one on the cemetery, Ellen. Oh yeah, here we are. So here is again at the site. So this is my daughter on the right, Amber Finley. I think she's got her Watseka Warriors shirt on. She's a assistant volleyball coach in Watseka, and they just won their regional tournament. And then that's Avery. And when we first talked about going on the trip, I wanted to go visit the cemetery, and Amber said, I don't think Avery's going to be interested in that. And I said, well, I would like her to be. I would like her to know the past history of people who have sacrificed their lives. And so we went. And I just talked to her over the weekend and asked her what impressed her the most about it. And she said, the visual. She said, I knew that 6 million Jews had been exterminated in World War II. I know that. But seeing that many grave sites all once, the visual. It was like when we went to the Anne Frank Museum and she saw stacks of shoes at an exterminated camp. Even though she knew the number, she said seeing that people wore those, the visual of it made really an impression. Okay. So Veterans Day, we honor all of our veterans, and so here in Fulton, and either as an alderman person here or on staff, here's who we have. We have Mayor Shane Malone, U.S. Air Force, and Alderperson Keith King. Thank you for your service. Terry Boonstra, Army. Chad Hermas, Army. Kevin is, no, he's not here, but he used Coast Guard. And Corey Flack, Navy. Steve Boonstra, Army. And TJ Spencer, Army. And Drew Misfelt, the Air Force. So we want to thank all of you for your service, and what a nice coincidence this was that one of our police officers, had a family member tied it all in. Also, the amount of time that it takes for them to care for that. I mean, they have just hundreds and hundreds of people taking care of that cemetery. So some of those statistics were really interesting. I just want to share one little personal thing I remembered about the war. So I was like in kindergarten, And my father was a Dutch immigrant, and so during the war, especially in those last couple years, he was sending a lot of care packages to the Netherlands. And so he was sending foodstuffs. And as a kindergartner, I remember it, and I think only because of the volume of stuff that came in large cartons, and then he was distributing. So it would be Uncle Ben's rice, Hill Brothers coffee, and Hershey chocolate candy bars. And I remember as a 5-year-old at the time, how uncomfortable I was, can't say uncomfortable, a strange feeling that my dad was sending these candy bars to somebody else. Well, when I got a little older, I realized, I was just kind of envious that I could have had all the candy bars I want, but there was something about him sending that. When I went to the Netherlands as a young adult and met my cousins, they told me how thrilled they were with the sweaters and the socks and all the food stuff, but especially the chocolate candy bars. So I had to tell them that, I remember that. And I kind of resented that they were going to somebody else rather to us. Anyway, when the war ended, Harry Truman was the president at the time, and he had written, well, there's several quotes, but he had said, let America never forget their sacrifices. And so here we are 80 years later from that war ending, and we're honoring our veterans far away and also those here in Fulton. And so thank you for your time that I could share this with you.
Thank you for your service as well.
Thank you for your service.
Thank you.
Thanks, Barb. Thank you, Barb.
You're welcome. Something's nice. Thank you.
All right, next current business, we have a motion to approve and vote on an ordinance authorizing the purchase of certain real estate, page 10 to 11. Motion, please.
So moved.
Discussion? This is one we discussed last week.
I wasn't here, but can you point where it is on this map?
It's this blue line.
The blue line, okay.
It's for the water main there.
And this will allow future people to be able to get water in that area, I'm assuming that's why we're doing it?
If for some reason that were to ever be developed, yeah, that would provide them water. But the main reason for this stretch of water main is to finish the loop between 22nd and 31st Avenue, because right now the water dead ends at 31st Avenue, right at the old Miramar Brothers. So this will actually allow for better water quality, and it'll actually help out the dispensary as well.
And this is part of the grant covers this?
So this is part of a Illinois EPA loan that we tried for 4 years to get, and we were successful in July of this year to be awarded.
Now, will this allow for any further future expansion south?
Someplace specific?
On the other side of the South Bridge?
You could eventually, yes, but as of right now, no. Just for the reason we don't have any development down there, so.
If it would.
But if it were to happen, it would help provide better water service down that way.
Anyone else? Roll call, please, Tori.
Alderperson Bergerath, King,
Yes.
Mask. Yes. Ratcliffe,
Yes.
Sewell, Van Campen. Yes. Wilkin,
Yes.
Boonstra.
Yes.
All right, next we have the motion to approve and vote on real estate purchase agreement, page 12 and 14.
Support.
Thank you. Discussion?
We have to vote on this first before it can get surveyed, or has it already been surveyed?
It's already been surveyed. This just allows us to enter into a purchase agreement with Mr. Niederhoff. We'll have to publish the ordinance for 14 days prior to, or 30 days prior to closing. So now that that's approved, we'll get it published, and then I believe closing date's the 9th. 14th, tentatively.
Tentatively, that should be about 30 days from.
Yep.
What does a survey cost for something like that?
I mean, I don't know off the top of my head. I mean, I know residential surveys are, roughly $1,500 on an average size lot.
Anyone else? Roll call, please, Tori.
Alderperson Mask,
Yes.
Ratcliffe,
Yes.
Sewell, Van Campen,
Yes.
Wilkin,
Yes.
Boonstra,
Yes.
Burgraff, King.
Yes. All right, next, committee of the whole discussion. We're gonna talk about the, 4th Street concrete or asphalt roadway. Eric, do you have information on that?
So the decision will need to be made probably at the next meeting. I'd like to bring it to a vote whether we're going to continue the work on 4th Street moving forward. I know there's been some talk about possibly holding off for a year, but it is something we need to decide what we're going to do moving forward. Along with that decision, we need to decide if we're gonna stick with asphalt pavement or if we're gonna put in concrete pavement. So asphalt pavement lasts typically 15 to 20 years, and then you have to go into grind down, replace. Concrete, you can go 40, 50, 60, 70 years potentially without having to replace. So for the price difference between concrete and asphalt will run us approximately $450,000, or we can have concrete roadway for roughly $630,000. So we just need to make a decision, obviously not tonight, but at the next meeting we'll have to make a decision which one we want to go with and if we want to continue moving forward with this project.
I really would like to see the business people surveyed, questions, the ones that are directly affected about how they're doing, how do they feel about going that way or giving them a break.
Well, I can speak to that because I'm one of them, and I've been going around and talking to other people and asking. My initial thoughts for myself personally was I would love to see us wait a year, but that was when I thought it was going to be completely asphalted. I didn't realize it was just going to be patched in. So after seeing it and kind of, talking to Eric and asking the guys out there too, like, would this last if we did want it to wait a year? And really, they're like, it really depends on what our winter looks like. So I will say everybody that I talked to Don Julio's, I talked to Lori Shear, Chelsea at Homemade Hippie, saying, what if we skipped a year? Everyone's like, oh yeah, that'd be really nice to have a year to rebound off of the loss that we've just had the last 4 or 5 months. However, it's hard to say 100% of the losses came from 4th Street being shut down because we had the bridge shut down at the same time. And it was kind of a coincidence that they really did open up within days of each other. And I'll tell you, 4th Street wasn't 100% open. Don Julio's block and my block were open, but that Friday afternoon when the bridge opened, I was busy from 3 to 5 o'clock on a Friday afternoon, nonstop of people coming over from Clinton and shopping that I hadn't seen in months. And so that gave me more of an optimistic outlook on the whole thing, that maybe doing it this spring won't be as bad because the bridge will be open. So we'll still at least get more traffic. It was really that double whammy that really hurt. I will say Lori was very adamant that she does not want our block shut down in May because that is her biggest month. She said, I cannot be shut down in May. I just want to pass that along for whenever this gets planned. Obviously, all of us business owners would love to see Dutch Days happen. That's one of my biggest days of the year. So planning so that we can still have a Dutch Days.
I can speak a little to that. I've been having a lot of conversations with their engineers, specifically just today, about scheduling and whatnot. And Zach had brought up that Dutch Days, being first week in March. May, sorry. But with that, we can require them, they can continue with work. It may just be gravel, kind of similar to how Fall Fest was. But it would just be the trench where the water main would be, and then we can tell the contractor, whoever that may be at that point in time, like, hey, you have to have all your equipment, trenches backfilled and off the streets for this weekend, so that way Dutch Days can go off like it does every year. And then as soon as they're done, they're back into it 100%, and then they're, in theory, should be starting pavement reconstruction beginning of June.
Why couldn't you just ask the contractor to begin the middle of whatever date?
Oh, it'd have to be
Mother's
June.
Day
Well,
is,
yeah, Mother's Day is
in the
middle.
second,
Yeah.
And you could.
The second week, it would be the second Monday that they could start.
And that is a possibility. You just delay everything, down the line. So it is a possibility, but just in the back of our heads, just remember that, the longer we delay a contractor to start, that just drives that project further into the fall. So then, we avoided Dutch Days, but now we're going to be in the heart of Fall Fest. So,
Well, so for just traffic flow downtown, January, February, it's quiet.
Right, obviously, yep.
So it would be,
Ideal for them.
it would be, well, no, it'd be nice for the construction to not start till June, because then people start coming out in March,
Right.
April, May. So you can give your businesses 3 months of business. And then, have your June, July, August. Hopefully, would it be 3 months, you think?
Right now, the schedule's tentatively 4 months, but you have to build in rain days and whatnot. Obviously, if it's a dry,
And we had conversations too about one block at a time. Is that a possibility?
That's still the plan. Right now, I'm trying to work with them on the water main. I'm trying to do, we're just going to do between 13th and 12th Avenue. Get that done, get everything back in place, pavement done, jump up to the next block. They had talked about having the contractor put, because this is what Morrison did. They did all of the water main in one stretch, and they just closed that down a block at a time, or as they needed, whatever space they needed. They would close that area down, get that done, jump to the next block, get that done until they got to the end. And then they could go and do all their testing, and then they could do all the water services, right afterwards. So
Eric asked me about Dutch Days, and we survived 2 years being closed, so we know we can. It was difficult that third year to come back because many of the vendors who do that for an income, by the time they couldn't do it for a couple of years, they were no longer there. So that third year was a difficult year for us financially, plus we lost the 2 years. But we can survive it. We can do that back. But it isn't just Main Street at Dutch Days, because like the hotel out there fills up Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and those people are all here eating, not just downtown on Dutch Days, but they're eating around town as well. And then all the East End people are affected in some way also when we shut that down. So it's more than just Dutch Days, but Dutch Days itself can survive it. It's just the impact it has downtown and other places.
the only benefit would be this year, next year would be the sidewalks already done. So businesses wouldn't be shut off at the front of their business. People could still walk in front of the businesses, not be affected by anything. Not compared to what it was this last year. But with this, we have this IEPA loan, approximately $3 million. If we decide we're going to hold off, we have to start this whole process over again.
I don't think starting off, I think it's just trying to time.
No, I'm just letting the council know that, if we were to hold off for a year, if that's what the council wants to do,
I still would like to
lose
get
out on
some
that
input
funding.
from all the business people that are directly affected.
To add some clarity to what Eric's saying, there's 3 components to that Illinois EPA loan, and all 3 were in the application that we've already submitted and has already been approved. we can't pull out one piece of that because we want to delay it is the point. So we would have to stop it, rewrite it, and reapply for it. And there's no guarantee that we would get that money. And just something I want to state from a finance perspective, as Eric stated, it's close to $3 million. 30% of that's forgivable. So we don't have to pay that back. And the other amount it's a variable rate, but Eric has down on here from our finance meeting, 1.62%. So we'll never have rates like that on a commercial loan for the city. So we've talked about not getting grants for the city. We're essentially getting a $900,000 grant by the forgiveness part of that $3 million loan. So like to not take advantage of that would be silly. It's going to be unfortunate. I still have reservations about the actual plan for downtown, but the finance makes sense. And just one more comment since I'm talking, the difference in cost between the hot mix asphalt and the concrete to me is hands down is a no-brainer. It's the concrete for an extra, $200,000 for that lifespan and how it will look. Concrete is 100% there. We crunched the numbers on Thursday. This will be in a future meetings note. Eric, we can take it all at once if we need to. Eric is currently going to look at some potential bank loans if we want to spread that out, over like 5 to 7 year loan, versus taking out that chunk all at once, over the course of the year. We'll just say 700,000 just to be safe because we haven't actually gotten the estimate yet. Then the initial number was 631, but just just make it a nice even number. Unfortunately,
So we've paid for the bulk of the work then, because wasn't this total project amount?
Total project for the downtown, if you include the fourth block, which would be in front of KT3 and the post office, was roughly $6 million.
that was the original scope.
That was the top of the line.
What have we paid to date?
By the time we pay for this third block, will be roughly 1.8 million.
Okay, and then you add the 700,000, we're over 2 million slightly, and okay. Question: is it possible to start at the north block and go south, or do you have to start at for the south block and go north? Because if they could start at this end and go that way, then could they technically have the same situation that we had at Fall Fest, where these 2 blocks are open, the festival continues, and they're still working
So
down the road?
the nice thing about the water main portion of this project is they're only projecting it to take about a week to get through a block. So first, the tentative schedule that I seen today, late this afternoon, was essentially 1 block or 1 week per block. So it would be unfortunate because you'd have to close a block off for a week, and then while they jump down to the next and so forth, and then they'd have to come back and hook up all the water services once we get our operating permit. But I feel like a week is a lot. And then pavement, you're 2 weeks for construction and then 2 weeks for the curing process. So you'd have a month where you would, that block would be down. But I'm trying to get it to where even if we have to pay a little more on the pavement side, to where you get this block done and then concrete comes in, they do that, on to the next. We might have to pay a little more, but at least then it's all confined to one specific block. So I'm trying to work with the engineering firm on that. I've actually asked them to come here to the next meeting to answer any questions that may come up. But that right now, we're just trying to create every scenario out there, so that way we have some kind of answer and at least something to tell business owners.
I'm 100% on board with concrete. That's just
Me too.
15 years from now, that 450,000 is going to be
Oh, yeah.
550,000.
Well, and then you're right back to where you have to shut down town again to re-blacktop everything. Financially, it only makes more sense to spend a little more money up front to get the better product.
Is snow removal easier on concrete or asphalt, or doesn't
Makes
matter?
no
Salt
difference.
doesn't hurt it, or?
With the sealers they have out there now, I'm not concerned about anything.
Now, how much is the average of concrete going up a year?
I mean, typically it's $5 a yard is what it's been in the past. So, I mean, it's a very minimal cost.
So
And I'm
we
guessing this estimate that I've gotten has an inflated rate.
Right, but I'm saying if we wait a year, that jumps it even more.
Yeah.
Well, everything.
Yeah, that'll be everything, yeah, unfortunately. Yeah.
Labor will go up.
All of
Yeah,
it.
everything's gonna go up, I mean,
I'm for next year doing it.
yeah, so am I.
Let's get it done.
And if we can do it, like you're saying, a block at a time, that minimal is a minimal.
That would be the goal. But I'm gonna have more conversations with our engineers to try and see how feasible that is or how much extra that may add to the cost of the project. So I'm just trying to gather as much information as I can for the council for the next meeting, for when we do need to make that decision and vote on it. So that way we all know what's coming for the next year.
The block, I'm terrible with the numbers, but the post office block, KT3, that's not getting new concrete though, is it?
Yeah, it would just have the water main portion of it run through, and then whenever we decide we have enough funding to do that additional block, we could do that at any point in time. Because the plans will already be there, it's just whenever we have the funds for it, that's when we'll do it.
But in the meantime, we just patch it with hot mix asphalt again.
It wouldn't look like that because we're not trying to meet into new sidewalk and have everything ready to go for the next project. It would just be, they would come in, run the water main, which would be on KT3 side of the road, and then whatever that trench would be, they'd blacktop it back in.
So to the point that we talked about, again, this will be in the notes for the next meeting, but the finance committee's recommendation would be to go with concrete because obviously the money difference is minimal and we can afford both. Although paying it all at once might provide some short-term pinch in our reserve funds for the next fiscal year.
I just like the cleaner look of concrete, just.
In reading Mayor's email too about, reasons why we didn't get the grant again, having too many funds in
It does
reserves
make a difference.
is hindering us getting funding, and we are gonna have to start planning for 3rd Street, I think, for the near future. Cause as we go one way and traffic diverts and goes either 3rd Street or 5th Street, they're gonna have to get attention sooner or later. And that'd be great if we could start applying for those grants next year to prepare for.
2027?
Well, yeah, I mean.
It would have to be that.
But yeah, like let's start applying and we get the money, let's
Yeah,
get going.
and luckily, Tara with MSA, she's great. As soon as some kind of funding source comes out, she gets a notification, she lets me know, and we have a conversation on whether or not it's worth it for us to pursue. But she's really good about making sure we know what's coming up and we can move forward on it.
While funds are low, we might as well apply.
Yeah, because 3rd Street is in need now.
I don't disagree, yeah. It's definitely gonna need some, especially the more traffic you put off.
Eric, you still are gonna look at loan terms though to present the two different options?
I just heard back from one bank so far, waiting to hear back from another one right now.
Okay, just for the next meeting? Yep. All right. I want to present that as an option, and I say that we have the funds in reserve, but if we're paying on a 5-year or 7-year note, that gives us more flexibility in our reserve funds next year versus taking that whole chunk out of a reserve fund, if that makes sense.
Is the reserve fund though hindering us from getting grants?
It was certainly listed as a
listed as
reason.
that.
We talked about that on the Thursday finance committee meeting, and we're still not sure where they pulled that 800K number because it wasn't 800K then. It's not, obviously it's not 800K now.
We haven't had 800,000 in that account, and I don't know that we've ever had 800,000 in that account. So I don't know where that number came from, but
What is our current debt right now?
I got it here
We'll
somewhere.
skip it next week. Next meeting.
Something else that Eric didn't mention that we talked about in our finance meeting, and again, I feel like I'm basically giving out minutes that I didn't have printed up yet, but the original water tower loan is coming to maturity next year, correct?
No, next month.
Next month. So that will be off the books, and then this EPA 30-year loan for these three projects will start filling in, and that loan amount is actually less than the original water tower loan. So the payment.
Does that
yes.
include redoing the water tower again, though, Eric? Painting it again?
Yeah, well, so with this water main work that we're doing, that is including repainting the tower. Yep.
Okay.
And it needs to be done.
It definitely needs it, yes.
Is that gonna get done then in 26?
Yeah, because that'll be a separate contractor because you have to be specialized in water tower work to even bid on it. So while everything else is going on, that project will be happening all at the same time. So there'll be a lot of moving pieces unfolding potentially next year.
And we hope to put this logo on the tower.
Nice.
Right?
Oh, we haven't gotten that far yet. Let's take this one step.
You have,
back.
it all costs.
It
You
all
have
costs.
any idea what that costs?
Just do a projector at night.
There you go.
Probably be cheaper.
We priced that out one time.
Oh, wow, we could talk people up there and paint it.
Yeah, we can sell advertisements for it.
There you go.
Can't they just slap on a sticker?
Yeah.
Put a tulip on it.
You'd
call
think
it
there'd
good.
be options these days.
Oh, there's options. It's just what you want to pay for. it.
Yeah.
Right.
All right, on to new business then. Any other Alderman comments? All right, Chief, you're up. Police report.
Okay, calls for service, we're down just a couple a little bit, but if you go to the back page, it is something for Zach.
Yes,
Take note of that, Mr. Radcliffe?
I did. Thank you.
All right, so Zach had asked at the last meeting, since now we are on our full year on our Central Square, I was able to pull last year's numbers, and we actually were about 40 calls less this October than we were last October. Everything's been pretty good. Number-wise is all pretty much staying the same. A lot of tickets. We got the Christmas ball coming up in in December, and then also we have our toy drive on the 6th. In addition, you've all seen the big vehicle outside.
Yes.
That was free. So I got a little press release in there. Didn't cost the city any money. What little bit of money it did cost us, we were able to use our administrative penalties. So it was a very competitive process, and we're very fortunate to have got that piece of equipment. The estimated value that we can come up with is about $70,000.
And who donated this?
It's from ILEAS, which is the Illinois Law Enforcement Alarm System.
What is the acronym?
It's called ILEAS. It's right there on the.
I saw it on the vehicle.
release. We're going to be able to use this for a warming station, cooling station. We'll be able to use it at all kinds of events. It's going to be a very
Universal.
Yeah, it's a very universal piece of equipment that we can use in our whole area. Small agencies like us, we don't usually get the opportunity to get equipment like this, and these types of items ain't necessarily just for big places. When something bad happens, the small towns are going to be the last people to benefit from any of these kind of resources. Heaven forbid we ever had another derecho or anything like that. This thing has 2 generators, it has cameras in it, it has lights on it. It's pretty awesome. We're very fortunate that I've had a conversation with Sheriff Greenwald, and he is actually going to house it for us for the winter. So we come up with a permanent solution to get it housed, so it won't be out getting damaged by any weather. So that's about all I got.
I have a question on downtown. Are those your guys' lights or are those contractor lights?
Those contractor lights.
So, BPI was generous enough to bring us a light, and let us use it while we don't have any lights downtown. Jeff Spencer has also been gracious enough to lend us one of his, for the same reason while we're waiting on the lights to show up. And with Sip and Shop on Thursday, we thought it would be best to have some kind of illumination down there. Now it's not the greatest, but it's better than the alternative. So, so if you turn on to 4th Street, you will be blinded for a split second, but it's temporary, so.
Do those, I haven't been down there that late. Do they shut off at like 10, midnight?
The officers are supposed to shut them off at 9 o'clock, so we're not disturbing the people that live down there.
Okay. Thanks,
And
guys.
lights are still due November 21st.
Last I've heard, yes. No, that hasn't, they haven't told me different, so that tells me they're still on track to be here in the next couple of weeks.
The Christmas lights here?
No,
Nothing to hang them on anyway.
yeah.
That's all right.
Just as a
Hang
quick,
them on the side of the building.
No, we sit out there.
Hold them up.
as a quick refresher, who has snow ice responsibility for the North Bridge? Is it Iowa?
Iowa.
Okay. Just curious on that. I know this one caught us a little bit earlier in the season, but with the new grooves in there, I'm kind of curious how that holds up.
I'm curious on a question on the bridge. What's up with that wire fence on it?
To hopefully deter people from trying to jump.
Are peeking over the side, and we get calls for people wanting to jump.
Okay.
It makes it feel more narrow, don't you think?
Oh, I just don't, I mean, we didn't have it there before, and I just was wondering why.
Speaking of salt truck, Saturday evening at about 9:30, Illinois was out on 84 throwing salt.
Really?
Yep.
Good for them.
Right at 10th Avenue and 84, they threw it there, and I'm guessing they're probably heading up to the bridge, but because they're in charge of the South Bridge.
Yeah.
Zach, them grooves that they put on this bridge, they're also on Twin Oaks Curve.
What's Twin Oaks Curve?
Out 30 going towards Morrison.
Oh.
They asked
You're
her.
so young, Zach.
I am. Thank you for saying that. So much appreciated.
They've had them there for a while and they work pretty good.
Okay. So somebody made the comment that it's the same groove that they did on the new 74 bridge. So I don't know if that works out well for them or not, but I guess we'll find out soon enough.
More for road wheels. They're supposed to quiet the road down is the main objective of them.
And people thought the road was bad because it was bumpy. But you got expansion joints, so.
Next, we have the Economic Development Committee meeting minutes. So you talk about those?
Okay. We met October 9th, and Barb had gathered a listing of city business and properties and presented it to Mayor Malone because he belongs to the Enterprise Zone Committee, and he was previously at the meeting for information of listings. So that was all prepared for him, a topic, so to take to the meeting with him.
And we have that attached here for everybody to see. If we're missing something, let us know.
And we continued to talk about the Jason Marcus property, which is the old Harbor Crest out there. And Mayor Malone had offered to reach out to Representative Spain, inquiring the ability of state funding to support the Marcus Senior Resident Business model. That information was shared with us and Jason to us. We didn't put that in there, but we.
No, it was a dead end.
Well, I didn't.
That was a dead end, wasn't it?
There's no like grant for private owned.
Yes.
And when he sent that information to us, he said, don't respond back to me. So then,
Right. That's what,
No, we
okay,
shouldn't
yeah.
put it in the
Well,
minutes either.
regardless, there was no grant money or no nothing towards that. And we had wondered if it was residential or industrial, and it is industrial area, which allows potential businesses could build there. I didn't know it was industrial. And then we discussed business registration forms. We don't know how they're distributed for new businesses discuss them, and who's responsible for the completion and the keeper of the recorded businesses. And how do the business get informed that the city requires them to register? And do they pay an annual or a one-time fee?
So I send out the letters with a copy of the ordinance and the form. It is an annual fee, $25. So I send out the forms, they come in with the payment. We record it in a spreadsheet just for contact details, but then Renee records them in, is it Central Square? Yeah, so that the police and fire have their like emergency info.
Okay, there we go. And Ted James, the local business owner, had asked questions regarding the Main Street reconstruction project and its impact on the downtown business. He's going to be invited to our next meeting. He wants to come, so. Which will be November 13th at 4:30, if anyone would like to come.
What's the former Company One Marima feed store combo?
That's
building
the building,
per
that
se.
empty building over here,
Yeah, well, I mean, what building is that though?
over there,
Deal
on Third
service site.
Street.
Oh, okay. I didn't know it was called that. Somebody call me young again.
Yeah.
What the name of the building
Thank you, Sue. Barbara, you want to talk about the tourism meeting?
Just that we called the meeting and interviewed one of the candidates. And just talked about all the upcoming things for the season, round tabling around and all the different things that have been acquired and plans for the, big season coming up. This is big time for us. So you can see what each person had to say about their own. We did have a program on the bridges. It was very popular. Always just amazes me on a Sunday afternoon how many people are still lifelong learners and show up for these programs. And then our next one is this Sunday. And we're doing one, we have a person that's not an architect licensed, but certainly architectural, and going to be talking about the different buildings downtown and different houses around town. So that one also will be of interest. And Sue had also talked about that the city is putting a tree up in memory of sugar maple tree. Our next meeting is November 19th on Johnny's Table.
All right, thank you, Barb. We do not have any reason to go to closed session this evening. Do I have a motion to close? Second. All in favor? Any opposed? Adjourned. Thank you.
Eric, can I get a copy of the NSA stuff? I would just like to have it.
I'll email Shannon and see if she can send it over.
I mean, so I don't have to print it out.
Sure.